How do you win a king and pawn versus king endgame? Imagine you are in a tense chess match, and the board is down to just two kings and a pawn. The excitement builds as you realize that this endgame can lead to victory if played correctly. Understanding how to maneuver your pieces is essential for success in this scenario. First, it is important to recognize the role of the pawn. The pawn is your primary tool for achieving victory, as it has the potential to promote to a queen if it reaches the opposite side of the board. However, the opposing king will try to block your pawn's advance. Your goal is to use your king to support the pawn while keeping the opposing king at bay. To start, position your king close to your pawn. This proximity is vital because it allows you to protect the pawn while moving it forward. The ideal strategy involves advancing your pawn while simultaneously keeping your king in a position where it can control key squares around the opposing king. As you move your pawn, always be aware of the opposing king's position. If the opposing king is too close to your pawn, it can capture it, leading to a draw. Therefore, you must ensure that your king is positioned to prevent this from happening. One effective method is to create a barrier. Move your king in such a way that it occupies squares that restrict the movement of the opposing king. This will create a safe path for your pawn to advance. If the opposing king tries to approach your pawn, use your king to block its path, forcing it to retreat. Once your pawn reaches the 5th rank, you will have a stronger position. From here, you can begin to push your pawn towards promotion. The key is to maintain the opposition, which means positioning your king directly in front of the opposing king while keeping one square between them. This will allow you to control the flow of the game and dictate the movements of the opposing king. If you manage to promote your pawn to a queen, the endgame becomes much easier. With the queen, you can checkmate the opposing king by controlling key squares and limiting its movement. In conclusion, winning a king and pawn versus king endgame requires careful planning and strategic movement. By supporting your pawn with your king and maintaining control over the board, you can convert this endgame into a victory. Remember, patience and precision are your best allies in this chess scenario.